Carleen, how do you measure the impact? I don't know if you had time to yet to know that when kids get into high school, are they still remembering Mr. Carbon?
We don't have that sort of longitudinal study yet, but about 2 years ago, we collaborated with some researchers at Stanford University who did a full year-long evaluation, 3-phase evaluation of the program. And some of the things that they discovered were, number one, that the kids were engaged, but also that they went home and told their parents about what was happening at school with climate change and with the assembly. And we also found out, we did some focus groups, or they did some focus groups with parents, and over again, the moms largely would report in and say, my kid comes home and says, you know, I'm only using these sorts of water bottles, or we need to reduce our carbon emissions, and, you know, to some kind of funny things where they're taking a shower and it's supposed to take a 7-minute shower and the kid's banging on the door saying, it's time to get out, you know. So, you know, mostly good things, but it's a really great symbiotic relationship because parents have reported that, of course, they're aware of climate change, but they really hadn't made the time, so they work together to remind each other in the household, and that in and of itself extends the length of the program, the length of the impact. I think looking forward, we have an opportunity that we think will extend the life of the program significantly, and I'm not sure if I should go into that or wait a little bit.
Well, one, I think you're looking at games, and games is a way that's one thing that's interesting in terms of making these fun and sort of video game where it's Rosemary talked about The Biggest Loser. Right. How can games be a factor?
Right. Yeah. So one of the things that I am frustrated by is that we need to get there faster. We need to keep expanding. We know the program works. We found out through the Stanford evaluation that 38% of the parents said that after the program concluded, they went on to take more expensive retrofits, they thought about green purchases, and they got engaged civically. They wrote to their newspaper, wrote to a local elected official. So we wanted to keep expanding that, but reaching more and more students, more and more families. And we have just announced recently that we are partnering with Guitar Hero, the founders of Guitar Hero, which is the #1 grossing game in the world ever. And the two founders of that are going to be partnering with us. They're personal friends of mine. And we're working on bringing all the mechanisms that we've learned over the past few years, the past 6 years from Cool the Earth's school-based program, and bringing that in to where kids live, which is on their PDAs or their mom and dad's iPhones or iPads, but still having that same interaction. There's going to be a story about polar bears and Mr. Carbon. There will be actions they can take from the clouds. There'll be things the families can do, and they'll be using some fun technology to authenticate that they took action, some photojournaling or Instagram sort of technology. So it's an exciting project, and we just learned that we're in advanced stages, is the language, with the MacArthur Foundation for funding this project. So we're very excited about that.
Well, let's ask Rosemary and also Michael about, can being green be fun?
Being green can totally be fun. I mean, I don't see why not. I mean, okay, I'm in university right now, and one of the fun things that I do is the Residence Hall Council. I'm a programming coordinator. So last semester we had a really fun before finals event. It was Swap When You're Swamped. And basically people would come and they would party, and there was an open mic and there was live music, coffee, and people could swap stuff. Like people could trade, like, hey, oh my God, I really like that shawl of yours. I'll trade my fan for it. You know, there's that kind of interaction, and that you don't have to be such a huge consumer to be happy. Like money isn't happiness. And you can form these interpersonal connections with green, and then sometimes green, it seems so fun that it isn't green. I mean, so it's like stuff like fun outdoor sports like orienteering, or just like programming, or like just talking green too, and like saying, oh my God, have you heard about the ozone layer today? Or have you heard about that really cool sea mollusk? And then like connecting the dots and being like, wow, this is green, this is environmental. And then you find this like really innate environmental stewardship that I guess you don't even have to create, you just have, it's in you.
Mike Haas, Rosemary mentioned DOT, and DOT is part of the Alliance for Climate Education campaign, Do One Thing, because this thing, climate becomes so big and so overwhelming, as Bridger mentioned earlier. Does what I do matter? Where do I start? And so Do One Thing is a very clever way that you sort of get people on the path.
Well, it's one of the immediate asks at our assembly presentations. Aside from coming in and forming a club if they don't have an environmental club, everybody can do one thing. We think one step, taking one step is the thing that can most ensure that you take a second one. And if you take a second one, there's a better chance you're going to take a third one. So, and we don't prescribe what that is. We leave it up to the people. But to your point, can this be fun? I think that is such a key point because what we need to recognize is that people have different interests, people have different passion, people have different things that motivate them. We share this common bond of this risk, but it's important to meet people where they are, whether you're a performer, right? Whether you're an aerodynamicist or an aerodynamicist to be a baseball player. Bridger, tell me about his baseball team. We have football teams, planting trees to offset their carbon impact. We've had fashion shows, put on by students. So whether you're into the science, whether you're into the performing arts, whether you're into athletics, whether you're into civics,
saving money,
to find
some
your
people are
voice,
motivated.
whether you're into just saving money, absolutely, through efficiency, energy efficiency things. You've got to meet people where they're at, and we think that's the best single way to develop this community so that you don't have this feeling of, I'm on my own, what difference can it possibly make? We need to draw people and meet them where they're at, and that's what we think is very important that the young people really get and they respond to when you meet them where they're at.